This video is for graphing quadratic equations. Let me zoom out here. Okay, so to graph a quadratic equation, we're going to find the axis of symmetry, we're going to find the vertex, then we're going to fill in a table of values using the calculator, and then we're going to graph. So to find the axis of symmetry, remember it is negative b divided by 2a. So in this case, it's going to be b is 0. So 0 divided by 2 is 0. So your axis of symmetry is going to be 0. And if we plug this in, 0 squared is going to give me 0. So that would be my vertex. And then to fill in our table, we do x squared, and then we can see all our values here. So we're going to go from negative, let's go from negative 2. So negative 2, negative 1, 0, 1, and 2. So if it's negative 2, our y value is 4. Scoot over a little bit here. And then if x is negative 1, the y value is 1. If x is 0, y is 0. If x is 1, then y is 1. And if x is 2, y is 4. So now you have points that you can use. So we would be at 0, 0, 1, 1, negative 1, 1, 2, 4, and negative 2, 4. And so your domain is going to be all real numbers. We can plug any x in there and get a solution. But your range, y has got to be greater than 0. You have no y values that are less than 0. All right, so do it again. Negative b, I'll write it up here so we have it to look at. So negative 2 divided by 2 times 1 is going to give me a negative 1. So my axis of symmetry is negative 1. If I plug a negative 1 in for this, so if I do negative 1 squared plus 2 times negative 1 plus 5, I get 4. So my vertex would be negative 1, comma 4. And then we have x squared plus 2x plus 5. There's my table. We're going to start at negative 3 this time. So negative 3, negative 2, negative 1, 0, and 1. And so I'm copying down exactly what's in my table here. And again, that gives you points to graph. So negative 3, positive 8, negative 2, positive 5, negative 1, positive 4, and then you've got 0, 5, and then 1, positive 8. So your domain is all real numbers, and your range, y, has got to be greater than or equal to 4. And again, you can look from your table and see that none of your y values are less than 4. All right, so our axis of symmetry, negative b would be a positive 8 divided by 2 times a, which is negative 1. So our axis of symmetry is going to be negative 4. If I plug this into my quadratic up here, I would get negative 4, negative 1. And then if we look at our graph, so negative x squared minus 8x minus 17, all we're worried about is the table. So here we're going to start at negative 6 on this one. So negative 6, negative 5. And the reason I'm doing that is because negative 4 is my vertex, so I want that to be my middle value here. And then I just fill in exactly like my table looks here. And so now that I've got my point, so we know -4, -1, that's my vertex. So -5, -2, -6, -5, -3, -2, and then -2, -5. So there's my parabola. And if you want to draw your axis of symmetry in, you can do that. You can label your vertex if you wish, and that this line is x equals -4, just depending on how much detail you need to put into your graph. So your domain is all real numbers. And then the range, everything, all my y's are less than or equal to -1. All right, so number 4 here. So axis of symmetry, -4 divided by 2 times -2. So my axis of symmetry is going to equal 1, which would make my vertex 1, 3. So again, that's kind of how I'm getting my values, how I know where to fill in at. All right, so -2x squared plus 4x plus 1. And so all I'm worried with is the table. So again, I kind of know where my starting point is. So this would be 0, this would be -1, 2, and 3. And so my values, again, I'm filling in straight off my table from my calculator, exactly what my table shows me. And then I can graph. So 1, 3 is my vertex. And then I have 0, 1, and then -1, -5, 2, 1, and 3, -5. So my domain, again, is all real numbers. And my range, y has got to be less than or equal to 3. All right, our final problem. So -b would be a +6 divided by 2 times 1. So x is going to equal 3. My vertex, if I plug 3 back in for this, my vertex is going to be at 3, 4. So I know that's kind of my middle point here. So I have x squared minus 6x plus 13. And so this is going to be 2, 1, 4, and 5. So that's kind of where I need the values on my table to be. So 8, again, exactly like my table shows them. So my vertex is 3, 4. So then I have 2, 5, and 1, 8. And then 4, 5, 5, 8. And these should be rounded at the bottom. I'm sorry, mine are so pointy. So my domain is all real numbers. And then my range, y has got to be greater than or equal to 4. So that's it for this video.